What's up everyone? Welcome to my channel. This is Living in Alberta. Super happy to be back. Today we're going to talk about some of the more popular areas to live within the city of Red Deer if you have a young family. Let's do it. All right, before we get into it, I just want to mention a couple things. I apologize for the delay in videos. I had an operation on my nose. My modeling career was kind of in question, so I had to get it fixed. So my face was swollen for the last month and a half or so. So I'm sure you guys didn't want to see that. And now we're going to talk about some of the more popular areas to live within Red Deer for young families. All of these neighborhoods have a very young demographic, but full disclosure, this doesn't include all of the neighborhoods. So if your neighborhood's not on here and it's good for young families, don't shoot the messenger. I just wanted to give people some options to pick from. There are many, many good neighborhoods to live for young families. And I could shoot this video in another year and we could have different neighborhoods on it.
Thanks. I'll wait for the video.
So let's get into it. Let's start off by talking about some neighborhoods up in the northeast corner of the southern end of the city, and we're going to combine the two because they're so similar. Let's talk about Timberstone and Clearview Ridge. All right, we've already kind of talked about where they're located. They're up in that northeastern corner of the south end of the city, which is a very desirable area of the city to live in. Again, we kind of divide Red Deer in north and south. Anything north of the river is north, and anything south of the river, even though it may look like it's north, is still considered South Red Deer. But I included these neighborhoods together because they are very similar. So let's talk about Timberstone. The homes were built in kind of 2010, and you will find new construction going on there right now. What both of these neighborhoods are actually really well known for is the amount of amenities that these places have. It is jam-packed full of just about everything that you can think of. So if you look in the Timberstone market, there's everything from restaurants like Pampas, there's gyms, there's daycares, supplement stores, pet stores, grocery stores, virtually everything that you can think of. And then if you just hop right across 30th Ave, if you're missing something in that Timberstone Plaza, you can find it in Clearview Market. Now, Clearview Ridge and the Clearview Market really do have everything. So we talked about kind of all the stuff that was in Timberstone. You can add that to the Clearview Market. You can include car washes and a bunch of other amenities, but it also has all of the major banks, which is super, super huge. So both of these places offer a lot when it comes to walkability. So if you want to walk to get groceries or go shopping or go for dinner, it's super easy and very doable. And it offers a lot of opportunity for employment, which sometimes, in my opinion, Red Deer, it's not like we're working in downtown Calgary, where if you live downtown, you work downtown, it's going to be 100% walkable. These neighborhoods can offer you that if you are working in that neighborhood. Now, both of these neighborhoods have young demographics, and they also have a fair amount of schools in the area, which is why I've chosen them for this video. So in the Timberstone neighborhood, you have Barry Wilson, which is a public elementary school. If your kids are in the Catholic school division, you're just going to hop straight across to Clearview Ridge, which they have a Catholic elementary school. And in this area, this northeastern area, just north of Timberlands, you have a brand new Catholic high school. So there is a lot of options within this area. If your kids want to walk to school, that's great. If you have to drive them in the wintertime because they're being a little bit of a bunch of whiners, it's going to be a super quick trip. So in my opinion, the Clearview neighborhood is going to have a little more to offer when it comes to things like being closer to walking trails. It does back onto the Gates Lakes Bird Sanctuary, and the Carewood Nature Center is down there. However, Timberstone, again, it's only across 30th Ave. So if you do want to have access to some of these beautiful walking trails, it's not that far of a walk or a bike ride either. So if you have a young family and you want to be close to amenities, you want to have a walkable neighborhood, you want to be close to schools, Timberstone and Clearview Ridge should definitely be ones that are on your radar. Now, a couple cons, or a con about living in this area. Both of these neighborhoods, I used to work up at Station 4 on the fire department, which is in the Timberstone neighborhood, so I know this area well. Both of these neighborhoods have crap cell service.
Can anyone get a phone signal?
No. How is there no signal in here?
I'm not sure why. I hope that the city or whoever is going to add some cell towers up there to kind of fix the situation. But the cell service in this area can be pretty shitty. So something to keep in mind. Cutting in here, guys, to remind you that I am a licensed realtor in the area. So if you feel like you connect with me or need any help making that move here to Red Deer Alberta or the surrounding area, use this info popping up. Get a hold of me any way you'd like. We'd love to hear from you. All right, let's get back to the video. All right, let's move down to the southeast corner of the city. And again, I'm kind of taking the easy way out here. I've combined two neighborhoods together because they intermingle with each other a lot. And again, they're very similar. And it's hard to talk about one without talk about the other. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Vanier East and Laredo. Now, I am not going to lie. I am a huge fan of the southeast corner of the city. If we look on a map, you can see that Laredo, which is just north of Vanier East, are right in the very southeast corner of the city. So super, super quiet, not a busy area whatsoever. Now, I include these two together again because they intermingle so much with each other. Right in between the two neighborhoods, there is a massive green space with a couple parks and playgrounds. It's got some tennis courts and basketball courts, lots of walking trails. And there is also a lot of walking trails in this area, which is kind of interesting because they are both newer neighborhoods. You're going to find, they're built from 2010 up to some new builds that are going on in Laredo right now. But sometimes one of the knocks on newer neighborhoods is that they just don't have a lot of options when it comes to walking trails and beauty and different things like that. Beauty is kind of a lack of a better term, but there is a lot of paved walking trails in this area, which makes it great for young families. Every time I'm out getting footage for this video for you guys or for these videos, it's just so busy there. Well, in the summertime anyways. When I was out getting footage for this video, there was tons of young families everywhere, riding their bikes, walking their dogs, rollerblading, scootering. You can just feel the busyness and the young demographic in this area. So it is great for that. I actually used to live in Vanier East for quite a while, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but the neighborhood felt super, super safe. There was lots of kids there. My kids have tons of options of other kids to play with. Right in the middle of Vanier East is a huge, again, green space with a couple different parks. One's for the bigger kids, one's for the little kids. It's always full of activity. So it is a super active and vibrant area. Now, there are no immediate schools right within Laredo and Vanier East, but you are super close to a lot of schools still. So just north in Lancaster, and we're going to talk about this neighborhood in a little bit, you have both high schools, both Catholic and public. There's a bunch of schools in the Lancaster neighborhood. Now, kind of a potential con living in this southeast corner of the city is if your kids are in the middle school in the public division, you will be going all the way across town to the West Park Middle School. But again, it's not too far. It's probably a 10 or 15 minute drive, but a potential con of living in this area. Now, for places like immediate shopping, it's not going to have as many amenities as places like Clearview Ridge and Timberstone, but you do have the East Hill Shopping Center where you can find Save on Foods and different restaurants, Tim Hortons, McDonald's, and you have the Collicutt Center, which is close by. And we'll talk about that one in a sec, and some other things, other gyms like Functional 45. So this area is phenomenal for young families. I love living here. My kids love living here. This is definitely a place that you should consider if you're thinking of making that move. All right, let's hop from the southeast corner of the city. Let's hop all the way over to the southwest corner of the city. And we're going to take a look at the neighborhood of Westlake. Now, I am also a big fan of this neighborhood. This could probably be my favorite if it weren't for a couple cons, which we'll kind of talk about near the end of it. But this neighborhood is tucked in the very southwest corner of the city, and it has a ton of things going for it, which I think are really cool. First off, it is all single family detached homes. So I know that's not really a big deal, but I've been to places, in certain neighborhoods where you go down your back deck and there is a monstrous apartment building kind of staring you down. So you're not gonna have to worry about things like that. You're out there having a beer, you're having a fire. It's all single family detached homes. You don't have to worry about, big, huge buildings blocking your view. Now, one of the coolest things about living in this neighborhood is that it has one of the best parks. In my opinion, I think it is the best park in the city. It has Heritage Ranch right in the neighborhood. So if you want walking trails and just playgrounds and things to do with the kid, there's a pond down there to go fishing. There's a restaurant in there called Westlake Grill. It's an amazing restaurant. It's right on the river. It's just a beautiful area of the city, and it is right within the Westlake neighborhood. There's not many neighborhoods that can make that claim to fame. And when you're looking on Google Maps, it actually comes up as West Park Extension. That is not the name of the neighborhood. It's called Westlake. You have Red Deer College, and you also have the G.W. Harris Canada Game Center, which is an amazing rec center. They built that in preparation for the 2019 Canada Winter Games. So it's within walking distance from the Westlake neighborhood. Again, the Canada Game Center, it is phenomenal. That place is amazing. Gyms, running tracks, skating rinks. This is where the kings and queens from the college, this is where they play volleyball, basketball. So a super fun area of the city. And then again, if you're going to college or you have kids that are in college, super walkable from the Westlake neighborhood. Now, there are some schools that are pretty close within the immediate area. So if we're looking at Westlake and we just go to the next neighborhood over called West Park, there is a huge and very popular middle school, public middle school in that neighborhood called West Park Middle School. Lots of people love going to the school. I actually had a client who moved here from Hong Kong, and she would only live, her parents would only live in neighborhoods that included this school within their catchment area, so their daughter could go to this school. There is also a public elementary school within the West Park neighborhood as well, again, which is right beside Westlake. So you are close to a lot of different schools. You are close to the college. And what a lot of people don't realize is that you are also super close to the Cronquist Business Park. So if you're willing to take the pass along the river and walk, 10 to 15 minutes, you can make it down to the Cronquist Business Park. And there is a ton of stuff in this area. This is a really cool area of the city. So you have Dose Coffee Shop, which is right on the river. This is a great place to enjoy a coffee. You have the Pure Earth Organics Market. Again, they have some really cool stuff there. They make these elixirs and these healthy cookies, or quasi-healthy cookies. That's what I tell myself anyways. There's the Troubled Monk Brewery down there. There's Carnival Cinemas, which is the cheap theater, karate, tons of stuff in this area, which is in walking distance of the Westlake neighborhood as well.
There are plenty of things to do down here.
So this area is great. You're close to schools, you're close to the college, the rec center. You have one of the best parks right within the neighborhood. Now, some of the cons of living in this area, there's one major glaring con in here on this neighborhood, and we'll show you some drone footage so you can see what we're talking about, but it does border Highway 2. So some of the houses, some of the streets are actually backing onto Highway 2.
I can't sleep here. I can't sleep here.
It's noisy as hell.
Highway 2 is the busiest highway in Alberta. It is our major highway from north to south. So make no mistake about it, it is busy and it is loud. So if that is something that bothers you, you're going to kind of want to pay attention to, where you're buying your house. A little farther back, it's just kind of a slight hum of traffic noise. That's not so bad. But when you're right up against there, it's going to be pretty loud. Another con, and I'm not sure what is up with these neighborhoods that I've chosen or what's up with the city of Red Deer, but you can also get some crappy cell service and reception within the Westlake neighborhood as well. I don't know what's going on here, but Westlake is a phenomenal neighborhood. I think it would probably be one of my favorites if it didn't have, if you weren't so close to the highway, and a couple of cons that come with this one. But let's move along. Let's take a look at the next neighborhood on the list. And this one might be the Mac Daddy, the best one for young families. And that is the neighborhood of Lancaster. All right, let's talk about the neighborhood of Lancaster. And why do I think that it's one of the best neighborhoods for young families within the city of Red Deer? It's because of the amount of schools, or one of the reasons is because of the amount of schools that it actually has right within the neighborhood. So you have two high schools, public and Catholic. You have Notre Dame and you have Hunting Hills. So your kids can walk to school. You don't have to worry about driving them. There's Mattie McCullough, which is a public elementary school. And you also have St. Francis, which is a Catholic middle school. So when it comes to having the most amount of schools right within the neighborhood, nothing beats Lancaster. Now, some other really good things about living in this area is right in between Hunting Hills and Notre Dame, which are the two high schools, you have the Collicutt Center, which is the original gangster when it comes to rec centers within the city of Red Deer. It has gyms, running tracks, field houses, skating rinks, daycares. So, if you're at home, you're on paternity leave or maternity leave, whatever that looks like for you, or maybe you're a single parent, you just need to get out, you want to get a workout in, or you want to go have a booster juice in there, there's a booster juice. You can drop your kids off at daycare and you can do those kinds of things. The Collicutt Center is an awesome rec center. Now, just a little bit to the south of that, you have another shopping plaza, which has a really cool gym in there called Functional 45. The owners there, they're super awesome. This is a group setting, so super motivating. You really get to know the community. Lots of people love going to this to this functional 45. And for immediate shopping within the area, again, we're in that southeast corner. So you have the South Hill Shopping Center. We kind of talked about it when we talked about Vanier East and Laredo. Again, you have grocery stores, restaurants, medical clinics, all that different kind of stuff. Now, Lancaster is a slightly older neighborhood, built in the 90s and early 2000s. Can't really think of any cons of living in this area. Other than, back in that time frame, they used a lot of oak. So your cupboards are oak, all your trim is oak. Every time I have people come from Ontario, they're always like, what's with all the oak around here? But it's a super easy fix. You can change that out very easily. But in my opinion, Lancaster is one of the best neighborhoods for young families within the city. All right, let's talk about the last neighborhood. Let's talk about Southbrook. Now, this neighborhood is located right in the very center of the south end of the city, which means you're in a great location when it comes to having access to all of the different schools that you're going to need, whether it's going over to the West Park Middle School in West Park or accessing the high schools and all the elementary schools that are in Lancaster. This neighborhood is super central and it has an extremely young demographic. Now, it's probably one of the smallest neighborhoods within the city, which means that everyone really gets to know each other and it's a pretty tight-knit area. I have a lot of friends that live in the area, used to work on the fire department with them. They have a lot of young kids and they say that it's just full of young families and tons of things to do for their kids. Now, when it comes to amenities in the area, you are really close to the neighborhood of Bauer. So you can walk through the trails on the walking trails and you can be at Bauer Mall within probably 5 minutes, maybe a little bit more. So super close to Bauer Mall and all the things that come in the Bauer neighborhood, as well as Gates Avenue. Just south, they've just added a new shopping plaza. So you can find Starbucks and different things in there, which is really nice. I know everybody needs their Starbucks.
Jesus, everyone's gonna go to Starbucks now.
This is the first time I've had Starbucks.
And if you do have a dog, or if your kids love walking the dogs, just south of the Southbrook neighborhood, you have the Oxbow's Off-Leash Dog Park, which is a really cool dog park within the city. Not quite as nice as 3 Mile Bend, but definitely a great option. Now, on the north section of Southbrook, you do have a coarse section of farmland, so you don't really have any neighborhoods to the north, which is kind of nice, I guess. It is going to be developed at some point. It has been bought. They have set aside some areas to remain a green space or a conservation area, but there are no neighborhoods to the north. Now, there's not really many cons for this area. You're in such a great location. You have access to all of the different schools. You have Don Campbell, which is right next door in the Inglewood neighborhood. The only real apparent con that I can think of in this neighborhood is that on the north side, you have a huge set of power lines that run east to west in the city. And I guess this can be said for Vanier East and Laredo too. So they're going to be close to those neighborhoods as well. But on the north border of Southbrook, you do have a large set of power lines. Some people care about that kind of thing. Some people don't. So just something to keep in mind. Southbrook has a super young demographic and it is also a great neighborhood within the city. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and click the notification bell so you're notified every week when a new video comes out. And if you would like any help with real estate needs, give me a shout. Use this info popping up. Get a hold of me any way you like. We'd love to hear from you. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Cheers.